So the space in Los Angeles is a showroom that's sort of embedded in this huge floor plan of a Caesar Pelli building in West Hollywood. So it's sort of in some ways a diametric opposite of how we exist in Brooklyn, but in terms of the revenue model, it's even cheaper because it's free. So this is the floor plan of the LA space, which is not to scale with the other floor plan; it's about 3 times bigger. So now I'm going to jump into the actual exhibit, and I don't know if anyone here been is in Unplanned. So this is where some of the folks in the audience may sort of jump in and actually sort of show some of their work or talk about some of their work. So Unplanned is a show that I curated in LA, and it's a show about work at the urban scale. And I'm going to read a little bit from the essay in the catalog book. The unplanned is not always avant-garde. Consider that the shopping mall, arguably the defining spatial typology of 20th century cultural life for the United States of America, was generated not by a plan, but by a tax code. In 1954, pro-business U.S. House of Representatives reworked much of the U.S. tax code. Replacing the Internal Revenue Code of 1939, this Internal Revenue Code of 1954 included World War II era ideas to bolster economic growth through private investment in manufacturing and machinery. Key to this was an acceleration in the rate of depreciation for commercial buildings. The rate of depreciation being the rate at which the cost of an investment property can be written off against profits for tax purposes. This acceleration produced short-term incentives for businesses to invest heavily in large warehouse-type buildings on cheap land. It turns out that, from a tax perspective, shopping malls are no different from manufacturing plants. Shopping malls, built on the cheapest land available, since the value of land cannot be depreciated, proliferated throughout the United States for 50 years. They became a way of life. This was unplanned. Let it be said that the grid is not a plan. The grid is a system, a pattern, a sort of fractal state of becoming. The grid of Manhattan and the wavy clustering of favelas share this state of becoming. The deliriousness of New York may be unplanned, but its brutal mediocrity has been planned to the T. Plans are star-shaped, they are made of setbacks and sky exposure planes. They are over-designed and wrought with fuzziness. As we begin the second decade of the 21st century, the human population finds itself crossing the threshold to a predominantly urban existence. Many of the basic tenets underpinning urban planning, Cartesian geometry, programmatic taxonomy, contextualism, have been subject to skeptical investigation and rebellion in architecture throughout the past decade. Yet, conventional urban planning continues, the discipline of urban planning operating much as it has since the 1960s, if not the 1860s. The notion of unplanning presumes an active engagement with the history and practice of planning, rather than a utopian attempt to start from a tabula rasa of urbanity. The provocation of unplanning today harnesses a moment of economic crisis as an opportunity to produce disciplinary crisis. This is the starting point of the unplanned exhibit. So, unplanned